Okay, I Believe in Father Christmas by Greg Lake, one of the folkier of the Christmas songs out there. The first thing that you're going to want to know about this song is that it's likely played by two different acoustic guitars or by one 12-string guitar. Obviously, 6-string guitars are way more common. That's what I have here. That's what I assume you'll have at home. We can get ourselves most of the way with one of these. The second thing you should know about this song is that it's in the tuning of drop D. So that's where you take your bottom E string and you tune it down a whole step to D. So your tuning should sound like this. The third thing that I need to tell you is that if you try playing along with the original recording, it will probably sound a bit dissonant and a bit odd. This is probably because the guitar that was used in the original recording wasn't tuned to standard concert tuning. So if you're using a guitar tuner, it will probably sound a little bit flat compared to what you're hearing in the record. Now, fundamentally, this entire song follows the same plucking pattern. You're going to want to pluck your top E string and your G string together like this, and you're going to alternate that by plucking the open D string. So together, you'll get a motion like this. Now, personally, I prefer to use my index finger and my thumb to do this, but those of you who are more dexterous with your plucking can find other ways that might be more comfortable. Once you have this motion down, the rest of the song should just unfold. So let's get into the intro. In the intro, Greg plays through 8 different shapes, and out of these 8 shapes, he constructs the whole song. So once you have these 8 shapes down, you'll be able to play through the entire song. The only difference that they'll come in different sequences. Now, the first of these 8 shapes is like this. Here I'm playing the 11th fret of the G string and the 10th fret of the top E string, and I'm alternating it with my open D again. For my second shape, we have the 9th fret of both the G and the E string like this. For our third shape, we have the 7th fret, same thing. For our fourth shape, we have the 6th fret of the G string and the 5th fret of the top E string. For our 5th shape, we keep that same shape and we go down 2 frets to get to the 4th fret of the G string and the 3rd fret of the top E string. For our 6th shape, we have the 2nd fret of the G string and the 2nd fret of the top E string. And then finally, well, not finally, the 7th shape, you have an open G and an open E. And then he usually tags on this final shape, which is just the 2nd fret of the G string and the open top E string. So now we have all these shapes down, we can play the entire song. So now I'll play the intro in full, and then I'll go back over it bit by bit to explain. So the intro begins with our first shape here, and he does a little hammer-on between the 12th and 10th fret of the top E string. And there'll be a little hammer-on motion all the way down throughout the intro, and the hammer-on will always be on the top E string. So the first one is here, our first shape, then down to our second shape, hammer on to the 10th fret, then our third shape, hammer on to the 9th fret, then our fourth shape, hammer on to the 7th fret, then our fifth shape, hammer on to the 5th fret, our sixth shape, hammer on to the 3rd fret, and then now we're done with the hammer-ons. He finishes it off with this little alternator between the 7th and 8th shape. So just like that. So open and then 2nd fret of the G string. And then the second round of the intro, he begins on the 5th shape, again with the hammer-ons. Now he tags on this little part here, which is our first time using this bottom E string, which we've tuned to drop D. So that's like this. He plays that twice and then continues that little tag there 3 times. So in total, the second round of the intro goes like this. Two, three, and then the verse comes in. Okay, so the verse, very simple, nothing that we haven't seen before in our intro, except for a couple of tiny variations on our shapes here and there. It starts on the 5th shape, which is the 4th fret of the G string, the 3rd fret of the top E string. Then he goes down to the 6th shape, which is the 2nd fret of the G and E string. And then to the 7th shape, which is the open G and the open E. And then he finishes it off with the 8th shape. And then a little variation of our 8th shape where he adds the 2nd fret of the E string. And he plays that 4 times. So in total, it's like this. Notice how our little hammer-on is gone. That's just good songwriting. You don't want to distract too much when you introduce a vocal. But the second half of the verse, this is where things get a little bit more complicated. This is where we see our variations on the shapes that we've already become very familiar with. The second half of the verse starts with our 5th shape again, but you want to move your G string 1 fret up to the 5th fret. And then after that comes our original 5th shape, and then down to the 7th shape, which is the 2nd fret, and then our 7th shape, and back to our 6th shape. So it's like this. He plays that twice. And on the final quarter of the verse, we start on our 4th shape, but again, the variation, you push your G string 1 fret up to the 7th fret. And then he goes 1 fret down to the original 4th shape. And then down to our 5th shape, 6th shape. Then he holds this for a bit. So that last part of the verse sounds like this in full. And that's really the whole song. After that, these parts simply repeat themselves. If not just for a tiny little variation in performance here and there. So in total, the verse will sound like this. Made one tiny mistake there at the end. You just want to finish it on a... So yeah, I believe in Father Christmas.